Are you eating the right foods but still waking up foggy, forgetful, or mentally drained? Here's a surprising fact most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't repair itself during the day. It repairs itself at night, but only if you give it the right metabolic signals before you go to sleep. And this is where most well-meaning people unknowingly sabotage their own brain health. They eat late. They snack healthy. They spike insulin. And without realizing it, they shut down the very repair systems the brain depends on for memory, focus, emotional stability, and long-term protection against cognitive decline. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain has a dedicated overnight cleaning and repair crew. During deep sleep, something remarkable happens. Damaged proteins are cleared, inflammation is reduced, and neurons restore their connections. This process is tightly linked to blood sugar control, insulin levels, and specific nutrients that act like repair signals, not calories. If those signals are wrong, the brain stays in day mode, not repair mode. That's why this topic matters so much, especially if you care about long-term brain health, preventing cognitive decline, better memory and focus, mood stability and stress resilience, and even healthy aging and longevity. What's fascinating is that one simple food choice at night can dramatically shift your brain into repair mode without supplements, medications, or extreme fasting. This isn't about eating more. It's not about superfoods or trends. It's about timing, biology, and metabolic signaling. And let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your brain like a busy city. During the day, traffic is heavy, lights are on, systems are running. At night, the city needs quiet hours to fix roads, clear trash, and reset infrastructure. If traffic never slows down, repairs never happen. Late night eating, especially the wrong foods, keeps traffic flowing. Insulin stays high, cortisol stays elevated, and the brain never fully enters repair mode. But when you eat the right thing, or sometimes when you stop eating at the right time, you flip a switch. The brain gets the message, now we repair. In this talk, I'll walk you through the exact biological pathway that allows the brain to heal at night, why insulin is the hidden disruptor of brain repair, the specific food that supports nighttime neuro repair, how this ties into memory, sleep quality, and longevity, and a simple evening protocol you can start tonight. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I share science-backed strategies like this every day to help you work with your biology, not against it. Now, before we dive deeper, let me give you a clear roadmap of what we'll cover next. Here's what's really going on inside your body when your brain repairs itself at night, and why most people accidentally shut this process down. Your brain does not repair itself all day long. It waits, and it waits for very specific conditions. Think of your brain like a city. During the day, it's crowded, noisy, full of traffic and activity. Neurons are firing, chemicals are being released, metabolic waste is being produced. That's normal. But just like any city, waste has to be removed and infrastructure has to be repaired. And that only happens when traffic slows down. That's what deep sleep is. During deep, slow-wave sleep, the brain activates something called the glymphatic system, essentially a nighttime sanitation and recycling crew. Cerebrospinal fluid flows between brain cells, washing away inflammatory proteins, damaged molecules, and toxic byproducts like beta amyloid. What the research shows is that this system becomes up to 10 times more active during deep sleep compared to waking hours. But, and this is critical, sleep alone is not enough. The glymphatic system only works efficiently when insulin is low, blood sugar is stable, and cortisol has dropped. In other words, your brain needs a metabolic quiet state. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to clean a house while people are still running around, cooking, spilling things, and turning lights on and off. That's what happens when you eat the wrong foods at night. You may be asleep, but metabolically, your brain is wide awake, dealing with glucose spikes, insulin release, and stress hormones. Late night sugar, refined carbs, alcohol, or even large protein-heavy meals raise insulin and body temperature. This keeps the brain in a semi-alert state and blocks deep repair. This is why people can sleep 8 hours and still wake up foggy, anxious, or mentally exhausted. Now, here's the key insight most people miss. Your brain doesn't just need absence of damage. It needs specific repair signals. During the night, neurons shift into rebuild mode. They activate genes involved in synaptic repair, mitochondrial recovery, and antioxidant defense. But these pathways only turn on when inflammation is low and oxidative stress is controlled. And this is where food timing and food choice matter more than calories. Certain foods, when eaten at the right time, help lower nighttime cortisol, stabilize blood sugar, and provide the raw materials for neuronal repair without triggering insulin spikes. This is the metabolic sweet spot. For example, foods rich in polyphenols, magnesium, and plant-based amino acids gently support GABA signaling, melatonin production, and mitochondrial repair, all while keeping insulin low. This is why populations with long lifespans don't eat heavy dinners. They eat light, nutrient-dense evening foods that signal the brain it's safe to clean, repair, and rebuild. And if this is already changing how you think about food and sleep, take a second to subscribe, because I break down the biology behind energy, brain health, and longevity like this every day. Now, here's an actionable protocol you can start immediately. Finish your last substantial meal at least 3 hours before bed. If you eat closer than that, keep it small and metabolically quiet. Avoid sugar, refined grains, and alcohol at night. Focus on foods that calm the nervous system instead of stimulating it. Because when insulin stays low and cortisol drops, your brain finally gets permission to repair itself. And next, I want to show you the specific nutrients and foods that actively switch this repair process on, including one simple food that quietly supports brain regeneration while you sleep. Let me explain this with a simple whiteboard-style framework. For your brain to repair itself at night, 3 systems have to line up at the same time: neurotransmitter balance, mitochondrial repair, inflammation control. Miss any one of these, and the process stalls. Here's what's really going on inside your body. At night, your brain shifts away from fast, excitatory neurotransmitters like glutamate and dopamine and toward calming, restorative ones, primarily GABA and melatonin. This shift is not automatic. It depends on raw materials. GABA is made from glutamate, but only when magnesium, vitamin B6, and stable blood sugar are present. Melatonin is synthesized from serotonin, which itself depends on tryptophan and proper gut-brain signaling. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage themselves. They either eat nothing at night, leading to cortisol spikes and nighttime awakenings, or they eat foods that spike insulin and block melatonin production. The goal is not don't eat. The goal is eat in a way that signals safety to the brain. Now let's talk about the type of food that does this. Certain plant foods contain what researchers call neuroprotective polyphenols. These compounds cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce oxidative stress directly inside neurons. At the same time, they activate genes related to mitochondrial cleanup, a process called mitophagy. Mitophagy is like replacing the batteries inside your brain cells, and it happens primarily during sleep. What the research shows is that foods rich in polyphenols, especially those found in deeply colored vegetables and certain seeds, increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. BDNF is essentially fertilizer for your neurons. It supports memory, learning, and repair. Now here's the part that surprises most people. Protein at night is not the enemy. Insulin-spiking protein is. Large servings of animal protein late at night raise insulin and body temperature, delaying deep sleep. But small amounts of plant-based protein paired with fiber and minerals do the opposite. They stabilize blood sugar and provide amino acids for neurotransmitter repair without metabolic stress. This is why certain vegetables, particularly those rich in magnesium, folate, and plant protein, quietly outperform traditional night snacks. Let me give you a simple visual. Imagine insulin as a light switch. If it's on, repair is paused. If it's dim or off, repair begins. Your nighttime food should dim the lights, not turn them on. Here's a practical protocol you can try. About 60-90 minutes before bed, choose one small calming food, not a meal. Think fiber, minerals, polyphenols, and gentle amino acids. Avoid sweetness, refined carbs, and heavy fats. Chew slowly. Eat intentionally. This matters because the parasympathetic nervous system activates digestion and repair. And here's another overlooked factor: the liver. At night, your liver is clearing hormones, recycling antioxidants, and regulating blood sugar output. If you overload it with alcohol, sugar, or heavy meals, the brain pays the price. This is why liver-friendly nighttime nutrition indirectly protects your brain. Low insulin, efficient liver detox, lower inflammation, deeper sleep, better brain repair. It's all connected. If this breakdown is helping you see food differently, consider subscribing. This channel is dedicated to explaining the why behind health, not just the what. Next, I want to walk you through the single most overlooked nighttime habit that either amplifies or completely shuts down brain repair, regardless of what you eat. Here's what's really going on inside your body when the sun goes down. Your brain does not repair itself just because it's nighttime. It repairs itself when your circadian timing, insulin rhythm, and cortisol curve are aligned. Think of your brain like a repair crew that only shows up when three conditions are met. The lights are dim, the noise is low, the schedule is predictable. Food can help, but timing decides whether the crew even clocks in. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your brain is a city that needs road repairs every night. Sleep is when the streets are closed so crews can work. But if trucks are still driving through, glucose spikes, late caffeine, screen light, the roads never fully shut down. No closure, no repairs. Now let's talk about the hormone that quietly blocks brain repair more than anything else: cortisol. Cortisol is not bad, it's essential in the morning. But at night, elevated cortisol acts like a construction foreman yelling, "We're still open. Keep traffic moving." Late meals, especially high-carb or high-sugar foods, raise insulin. When insulin spikes at night, cortisol often follows, especially if you're already insulin-resistant or under stress. This is why people wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. with racing thoughts. The brain never entered deep repair mode. What the research shows is that deep sleep, particularly slow-wave sleep, is when the glymphatic system activates. This is the brain's waste removal network. It flushes out inflammatory proteins, metabolic debris, and neurotoxic byproducts. But the glymphatic system is extremely sensitive to blood sugar instability, late-night cortisol, light exposure, erratic meal timing. This is why two people can eat the same healthy food, and one sleeps like a rock while the other lies awake. So here's the practical, actionable protocol. First, set a food cutoff window, not a fast, a rhythm. Aim to finish your last meaningful intake at least 2 to 3 hours before sleep. If you do need something closer to bedtime, it should be small, calming, and low glycemic, never stimulating. Second, anchor your brain with predictability. Eat your evening food at roughly the same time every night. Your brain anticipates patterns, and anticipation lowers cortisol. Third, pair nighttime eating with parasympathetic signals. Sit down, no phone, no screens, slow chewing. This tells the vagus nerve, we're safe, you can repair now. Now here's the overlooked amplifier, magnesium. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions, many of which regulate NMDA receptors, the same receptors involved in excitatory brain activity. Low magnesium keeps the brain on. That's why magnesium-rich foods or gentle supplementation in the evening can dramatically improve sleep depth and next-day clarity. But magnesium only works if insulin is calm. So timing plus composition plus nervous system, state, NUS repair. If you're finding this useful, take a second to subscribe. I post science-backed strategies like this every day to help people fix root causes, not chase symptoms. Next, I want to show you how one specific nighttime mistake silently blocks brain repair, even if your diet looks perfect on paper, and how to fix it immediately. This is the mistake that silently blocks brain repair, even if you're eating the right foods at the right time. And it has nothing to do with calories. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain repair system is oxygen dependent. Not just oxygen in your blood, oxygen delivered efficiently to brain tissue while you sleep. Now here's the problem. Many people unknowingly sabotage this every night through impaired nighttime breathing and nitric oxide suppression. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Picture your brain as a high-performance engine. Food provides the parts. Sleep provides the time. But oxygen is the fuel that allows repairs to actually happen. If fuel delivery drops, the repair crew slows down or never finishes the job. Nitric oxide is the key molecule here. Nitric oxide dilates blood vessels, improves cerebral blood flow, and enhances oxygen delivery. It also supports mitochondrial repair, the tiny energy factories inside brain cells. What the research shows is that nitric oxide production naturally rises during restful sleep, unless something blocks it. And the most common blockers are mouth breathing at night, nasal congestion, alcohol, late heavy meals, chronic inflammation. This is why people can sleep 8 hours and still wake up foggy. Their brain never got enough oxygen to complete its overnight reset. Now let's connect this back to food, because this is where nutrition becomes powerful. Certain nighttime foods increase nitric oxide availability. Others shut it down. Ultra-processed foods, alcohol, and late refined carbs increase oxidative stress. That oxidative stress scavenges nitric oxide before it can do its job. On the flip side, nitrate-rich whole foods support nitric oxide synthesis, especially when insulin is stable. Here's the overlooked insight. Nitric oxide is not just a cardiovascular molecule, it's a brain repair molecule. Studies show that impaired nitric oxide signaling is associated with reduced slow-wave sleep, poor memory consolidation, increased neuroinflammation, faster cognitive aging. So what do we do about this? Practically, first, protect nasal breathing at night. Your nose produces nitric oxide locally. Mouth breathing bypasses this completely. This alone can change brain oxygenation by a measurable margin. Simple steps. Clear nasal passages before bed. Avoid alcohol at night. Sleep on your side. Keep the bedroom slightly cool. Second, support nitric oxide through food timing, not volume. Earlier, lighter dinners allow insulin to fall and nitric oxide to rise naturally during sleep. Third, avoid nitric oxide killers at night. This includes alcohol, sugary desserts, ultra-processed snacks, heavy protein overload late at night. Protein is essential, but excess protein late can elevate cortisol and ammonia load, both of which interfere with sleep architecture. Now here's the part most people miss: stress. Psychological stress reduces nitric oxide synthesis through sympathetic nervous system activation. You can eat perfectly and still block repair if your nervous system is locked in alert mode. That's why calming rituals matter just as much as food. Slow breathing, dim light, consistent timing. These aren't lifestyle cliches. They're biochemical signals. When nitric oxide flows, blood vessels open. When blood vessels open, oxygen reaches brain tissue. When oxygen reaches brain tissue, repair happens. This is why brain health is never about one food. It's about alignment. In the next section, I'll show you how to stack these signals together, food, timing, and nervous system, into a simple nightly protocol that accelerates brain repair without supplements or medication. Now let's put everything together into something you can actually use tonight. Because knowledge without execution doesn't repair your brain. Signals do. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain doesn't repair itself because of one nutrient. It repairs itself when multiple biological signals line up at the same time. Low insulin, high melatonin, stable cortisol, strong nitric oxide signaling, and deep parasympathetic activation. Think of it like a combination lock. You don't unlock brain repair by turning just one dial. You unlock it by aligning all of them at night. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your brain as a high-security data center that only allows maintenance crews inside during a narrow window. That window opens only when the environment is quiet, energy demand is low, and resources are available. Nighttime is that window, but only if the conditions are right. So here's the nighttime brain repair protocol. Simple, realistic, and science-backed. First, timing beats quantity. Finish your last real meal 3 hours before bed. Why? Because digestion competes with brain repair for blood flow and energy. When insulin stays elevated, melatonin production drops, and melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, it's one of the brain's most powerful antioxidants. What the research shows is that melatonin directly reduces neuroinflammation and supports mitochondrial repair inside neurons. Second, choose foods that signal repair, not alert. The ideal evening plate is light, mineral-rich, low glycemic, anti-inflammatory. This is where certain vegetables outperform animal protein at night. Leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, mushrooms, and polyphenol-rich plants provide. Magnesium calms the nervous system. Folate supports neurotransmitter repair. Polyphenols reduce oxidative stress. Natural nitrates support nitric oxide. These foods don't spike insulin. They lower metabolic noise. Now here's an important distinction. Protein is essential, but nighttime is not the optimal window for heavy protein loading if your goal is brain repair. Excess protein late can increase cortisol, ammonia, and digestive workload. Instead, think repair supportive, not growth maximizing. Third, stabilize blood sugar through the night. Nighttime hypoglycemia, even mild, triggers cortisol and adrenaline. That pulls the brain out of deep sleep. If you wake up at 3 or 4 a.m., this is often the reason. A small amount of healthy fat in the evening, like olive oil, avocado, or nuts, slows glucose release and keeps the brain calm. This is not about eating more. It's about preventing stress signals. Fourth, send a strong parasympathetic signal. Here's where most people underestimate their power. Slow breathing before bed increases vagal tone. That shifts your nervous system from do to repair. Even 5 minutes can change brain chemistry. Slow breathing lowers cortisol. Lower cortisol allows melatonin to rise. Melatonin activates the brain's glymphatic system, the cleanup crew that removes metabolic waste, including beta amyloid. This is one of the most important brain repair mechanisms we know. And yes, food timing affects this system directly. Fifth, consistency beats perfection. Your brain runs on circadian rhythm. When you eat, sleep, and wind down at consistent times, gene expression related to repair improves. What the research shows is that irregular timing increases neuroinflammation, even if diet quality is good. So don't chase perfection. Chase rhythm. If this is making sense so far, consider subscribing. I share science-based strategies like this every day to help you optimize health naturally. In the final section, I'll show you how one small nightly change can compound into long-term brain protection, sharper memory, and slower cognitive aging, without supplements, medications, or extreme routines. Let's talk about why this works long-term and why the brain you have at 70 is largely shaped by what you do at night in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain is one of the most metabolically demanding organs you have. Even while you sleep, it's burning energy, reorganizing memory, repairing synapses, and clearing waste. But unlike muscles, the brain cannot store fuel. It relies on stable blood flow, clean metabolic signals, and uninterrupted deep sleep to do its work. When those conditions aren't met night after night, damage doesn't show up immediately. It accumulates quietly. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your brain like a city that produces trash all day long. During the night, sanitation trucks come out to clean the streets. But if the roads are blocked by inflammation, high insulin, stress hormones, or poor sleep, trash piles up. That trash is metabolic waste. Oxidized proteins, inflammatory molecules, misfolded proteins. Over years, this accumulation is associated with brain fog, memory decline, mood changes, and neurodegenerative risk. What the research shows is that deep, uninterrupted sleep is the gatekeeper. And nutrition timing is one of the strongest levers controlling it. This is where many people misunderstand brain foods. It's not just what you eat, it's when and why. Eating late at night sends a mixed signal. Be alert, insulin, digest, blood flow shift, produce cortisol, blood sugar regulation. That combination directly suppresses melatonin and deep sleep cycles. On the other hand, a calm, light, nutrient-dense evening routine sends a very different signal. Low insulin, high melatonin, stable glucose. Parasympathetic dominance. That is the environment where neurons repair membranes, mitochondria regenerate, and synapses strengthen. Now let's talk about one overlooked factor: nitric oxide. In the final section, I'll bring everything together and give you a simple 7-day challenge. One change, one habit that can noticeably improve sleep quality, mental clarity, and long-term brain health. Let's bring this all together. If there's one idea I want you to take away from today, it's this: your brain doesn't repair itself randomly. It repairs itself predictably when the conditions are right, and those conditions are created largely at night. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every single evening, your brain is deciding whether it's safe to shift into repair mode or whether it needs to stay alert, defensive, and reactive. That decision is shaped by a handful of signals: insulin, cortisol, inflammation, blood flow, and circadian timing. When those signals are calm and aligned, the brain does something remarkable. It cleans house. It strengthens memory. It repairs neurons. It resets emotional balance. It protects itself against aging. When those signals are disrupted, late meals, heavy sugar, stress, inconsistent sleep, the brain postpones repair. And postponed repair, repeated night after night, becomes decline. This is why people often say, "My memory just isn't what it used to be," or "I feel foggy even though I sleep." It's not a lack of effort. It's a mismatch between biology and behavior. Now let's recap the most important physiological insights we covered. First, the brain's cleaning system is most active during deep sleep, and deep sleep depends on low insulin and stable blood sugar.